Hello, my name's Joey and welcome to my tour of props and artifacts. Now today I'm going to be doing an update into my Proton Pack, which has been inspired by, there's a Ghostbusters podcast called the Black Firehouse podcast, and they rather kindly and amazingly they featured my pack on there, and they were saying how it was an afterlife pack way before its time, and that is an amazing compliment because that is exactly what I designed. Many years ago in 2004, this was a joint effort between myself and who is now Ben of Kent Props, my best friend Ben. We built these Ghostbuster packs for Halloween, Halloween of 2004, which we actually missed. So technically this was completed in 2005. Now it's going to be coming up to 20 years old very soon. And obviously after Afterlife I added a few extra pieces, but the whole design of this pack was always to be, now number one, it was when we built them we said let's make them larger than life. So obviously a lot of details are slightly bigger than the genuine articles, and it was also meant to look like this. Technically, yeah, here we go, this is a Mark II. The unit is set for 40-second bursts. So this is not the pack you see in the films. Of course, each film, they differ slightly. So I said to Ben, I said, if we're building this, these things change every film. So we don't have to do this 100% accurately. You know, electronical parts and other parts become obsolete, or you can't get them anymore. So of course, you're going to have slight differences in manufacturing. And of course, the packs differed from Ghostbuster to Ghostbuster. And of course these were just, you know, these were just made by the guys themselves. So there's going to be differences. It's not a mass-produced item. So you're going to get differences. If I say differences again, don't worry, there's no prize. I'll just irritate myself. So yes, we wanted to make them larger than life. Make them look typically not exactly the same as the ones on film. But our own version. Obviously a bigger gun. So let's get into this almost 20-year-old pack and what it does. First of all, let's turn it on. So, lights are coming on. Obviously it's not this amazing in the daylight. Obviously the red LED here, I wanted that to be completely different. So when Ben put that in, I wanted it to be a red LED to show that this is a totally different pack from what we see on screen. So here we go, let's turn it on. Clearly it's very loud because we used to take these things out for charity events around London during Halloween. So of course this thing had to be very loud so you could see it from a distance. Now thanks to the Ghostbusters game, I decided to put a fire extinguisher on there to make it look more and more dangerous. This is in fact helium, and you can see the helium is coming out of that tube and running down here, and it clicks into there and it gives helium to the cyclotron. So if you've got a ghost that is you need to zap its energy and you're taking quite a while with it, not only have you got 40-second bursts you're available to do, which is not a burst as someone said, that's a long wait, that's a long stream, you can give more helium. So obviously we've got the helium pack there, and then of course we've got a spare helium pack there which is capped. So let's give this thing a burst, shall we? So yes, very, very loud as you can see. I think we need to add a bit more helium to the mix. There we go. Got a failure there. And let's see if it's true to its form. Let's see if we can actually get a 40-second burst out of this. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So Only 23 seconds. Let's shut that down now. So, we only got 23 seconds out of that. Now, the reason I put 40-second bursts is because I think I read somewhere that the pack can go for 30 seconds. I could be wrong. So I thought, oh, 40 seconds sounds a lot better, a lot more dangerous. Now, obviously, it only manages 23 seconds. But that's quite cool, because in the Ghostbusters novel, it says something about they were testing some of the equipment out, and Egon got the timing wrong. So I kind of like that idea that it isn't really what it says it is. So let's talk about some of the extra details. As you can see, there's a hell of a lot of extra details that you won't find in the film. So, coming off of the fuel cells here, we've got all this extra wiring. Now, this copper wiring was influenced by Ghostbusters Afterlife. I put that on afterwards. Same as this. These are connectors which they did use on some of the Proton packs that were guarding the Tomb of Gozer. They used smaller versions, but I obviously wanted this to be big and larger than life. Quite recently, so I was going to say gun. I don't want to call this a gun. Obviously, Ghostbusters is close to my heart, but I will get some of the terminology wrong. Anyway, the particle thrower, here we go. That used to wobble on the clip, and it used to make this section wobble backwards and forwards. So I know the original is joined. So I never like to build anything without there being a reason. I like to give it a story. So I literally wedged some wood in there, but I didn't like the idea of the wood just being wedged in there. Now, I know the original, that area is joined to that, but I wanted to explain what had happened. It's an upgrade. So if you can see in there, there's a little bit of metal coming down, and then we have an add-on here, which is a crocodile clip. Obviously that connects to that and makes some kind of electrical connection. Obviously I've added a few cable ties to this, which always makes something look quite nice. And then of course that connects onto there. Now that is reminiscent of the concept designs of the Afterlife packs, where there is actually a crocodile clipped wire coming up here, which is actually quite cool, because originally when we put these packs together, this blue lead had a crocodile clip and it attached, I think, somewhere over here, and it just looked really cool. And so it's nice to get the crocodile clip back again, that little extra detail. Obviously there is another video on this, so it explains in more detail some of the extra details. We want to let some air out here of the fuel port. There we go. That's actually from a lawnmower bracket. Now, what I love about the Ghostbuster pack is all of these signs were never ever meant to be read, were they? Because it was cinema, so the definition was not amazing. Obviously then it came out on VHS. So I love the fact that, you know, we religiously stick to these signs on the pack, but they don't make much sense, which is great. But we want them to be exactly the same as what we saw on film. So yeah, I love the fact we were never supposed to see this. Obviously we have a fully extended end there, which because this pack is built for 40-second bursts, 23 as we know, you don't need to extend it. It's already fully extended, and of course we have it's a lot more strengthened on the end there as well. Obviously a hell of a lot of cobbled togetherness going on there. Cobbled togetherness, I've invented another word. And here we go here, whatever this electrical component is. I always thought that looked quite cool on the end there. So yes, the idea of this pack was it was supposed to look like it was built many years ago and only comes out on the busiest night of the year, which is Halloween. So it's a pack that should never really be used. Well, obviously look, it's out of commission, don't use it. Has a hell of a lot of encrusted slime on there. Obviously, you know, this is a work tool. You wouldn't get the chance to clean it, and at the end of the day you'd be very tired. So would you really want to sit and clean your work tools? The most thing you would do is just, you know, probably throw this off and end of another day, unfortunately knowing that you'd probably be on call in another 10 minutes time, or God knows when. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of the actual wearing mechanism. So here we are, round the back, or the front, actually the front, which is now the back. Here we go. So I wanted to add a bit of their kind of sense of humour there. Go easy, I was built in 1990. So yes, this is a very, very old pack and only comes out in emergencies. So not only is it decommissioned, but yes, definitely go easy. We can see there, look, it's even got a D on there, marking it as damaged, do not use. Nice little American label there. This little steel case, blah 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 label, actually came off a chair from Mission Impossible. And the chairs, they used to work for a prop hire company, the chairs that came back had all these little labels on the bottom, and I thought, ooh, one of those is going to be very, very good on the Ghostbuster pack. So as they were falling off anyway, it now begins its life on the back of my pack. It is quite annoying because whenever I do these videos, a lot of times I struggle for the words. It's in my head, but I can't seem to get them out. So it does irritate me. Hopefully all you want to see is the pack, so you're not really fussed about my words that much. So here we go, drawing from the emergency services and the Ghostbusters game. We have our bent angle torch, but I wanted to go for fire service torch. I went for yellow to be reminiscent of the yellow boxes they wore in Ghostbusters 2. This is what I mean. I know all these words, but when I come to doing a video, I just can't get the words out of my head. So there we go, man down, yellow box, there we go. You can, in the comments, tell me exactly what it is. I know what it is, but when you're doing a video, sometimes you're under the spotlight and you just... Also, I tend to try and do these in one take, so I don't really want to be doing 200 takes just so I get every single word perfect like that. So anyway, reminiscent of the man down boxes used in Ghostbusters 2 on their equipment belt, there is my bent angle torch, but it's a fire service one. Radio, worn up there for convenience. This is actually a very, very tatty radio that I own. I collect American police gear as well, so this is a very tatty radio which I had no more use of, so that can go in the Ghostbusters gear. And attached to the pack, refillable, do not destroy. We have some chemical swabs for chemical warfare, and I thought this looked rather cool because not only did I never really know what to do with it, but I love the science of Ghostbusters and how it's how it mixes military items. I mean, even this, look, state US. How cool is that? But yeah, these are decontamination swabs, and I just thought that hanging off there looks like it's the only one of the good things you can use to get rid of ectoplasm, maybe off your suits and definitely your equipment. Not that anyone has really cleaned this. So that's the back of the pack, or as we've come to know, the front. Some extra detailing here. I think some batteries are behind there. I can't remember. I know we've got a small battery pack down there. Now this is what makes it so loud. Look at the size of that speaker. That's thanks to Ben of Kent. So I'm just going to fire this up again just to be annoying. We have a little switch down here. Here we go, classic old toggle switch. And let's fire this thing up again and watch the speaker move. Right. Okay, trying to do this one-handed. Now to turn it off. That little vibration there was cool, wasn't it? So yes, that's a close-up of my pack. Apologies for the handling of this video. I've got a selfie stick and it keeps wobbling and moving, and you know, it's this is not a professional production, obviously. This is just me showing off props, and hopefully people will have an interest. So there we go. And the great thing about YouTube is you don't always have to be professional. I've watched videos that are just, you know, static items and they're talking about them, and it's still very, very interesting. You know, it's YouTube, it's not TV, so it doesn't have to be, you know, amazingly impressive. If you're interested in it, then that's brilliant. That's cool. Oh look, pack number 8. You mean they made 8 of these? Who knows? So that's the Proton Pack in all its glory. Let's just have a little view over some of the little details on this. A slow little pan over the wear and tear. That's actually a label that comes off of Ecto 1. I thought it was absolutely perfect on there. These are aeroplane electrical instructions. little dynamo label maker from the 80s, showing that this tube coming off the hydrogen clicks into there, literally, click. Okay, it doesn't click, it cable ties. Spare iron arm there. The label's faded away, but we need to know it's toxic, so that little Pringles tube is still going after all these years. Oh look, the bumper was made in Germany. A little data plate would suggest. That's actually how I charge it up. There's a little charging port in there. Do not use, definitely do not use. This is a dangerous pack. I love the fact that this is actually genuine rust. That's not a painted effect at all. More dynamo labelling there. More slime. Upgrades. Crocodile clip. All these scratches here were achieved with a silver pen. Those silver pens are fantastic for this kind of weathering. And same down here, that was all silver pen as well. Silver pen is brilliant for weathering items. And that little wire there actually does function. That actually does something. And got a bit more rust. Bit more rust in these parts here. So the whole idea is that this was just hanging around in a fire station for years, unloved, and only comes out in emergencies. Now we can look at some of the other props. At some point I'll do a video on the uniform as well, which has got a hell of a lot of gizmos on it and electrical components. In actual fact, I've got way too much equipment, so I'm going to have to make another equipment belt. So here we go. This is the Mattel PKE meter, which I painted up to look like steel. Now, I didn't bother painting these in steel, and I didn't bother doing anything with the lights, because when you get different cars, and you pay different prices for them, if they have extra features, obviously they have the holes where the lights and buttons go. But if you buy a car with less features, you still have the moulded areas where the buttons would go, and sometimes these are blanked off. So this was the whole idea here, was that this is a slightly cheaper model of the PKE meter, literally only designed to shock. And this is the reason why, here we go, this is painted black, and it's just still the original moulding of where the lights would go during manufacture, but this one doesn't light up. So this is just a slightly cheaper model in my mind. It literally only shocks. Now, since I painted it, oh, that actually works, but I don't think it flips all the way down. No, look at that. That's the problem with painting it and altering it. It'll shock, but it won't PKE anymore. It won't detect. We'll always have a funny little arm which you have to do manually. So that's the Mattel PKE meter, which I turned into a cheaper model of literally all it does is shock. Let's do that one more time. Oh, well, I'm shocked that it's not working. You think we can jumpstart a pack like this? Not a bad idea. And then we have the ectoplasm detector. So here we go. This is the ectoplasm detector. So this is for lightweight investigations. And let's flip it up there, if we can, with one hand. Now this thing works by pointing it down. So turn it on. There we go. So there we are. It's detecting the ectoplasm. And we have a little reminder there of the different types of ectoplasm you might encounter. So the prop itself, get that out of the way, the holder. The prop itself, this came from a speedy stitcher. This is the handle of a speedy stitcher. It's a tool used for sewing. Slightly afterlife inspired. This is what I hate. I start to talk and I start forgetting any words that come out of my head. So it just becomes a little bit irritating after a while. But you don't need to hear that. So anyway, afterlife inspired tape here. This was literally mainly for strength because the handle is just roughly glued on there. Once again, a little graphic here from an old vintage camera. The whole idea being that as you don't read the signs on the Proton Pack, Same again, you're not really ever supposed to read the signs on here, so from a distance it could look like these are different types of ectoplasm and their categories and numbers and God knows what. Now the whole idea is that you search for the ectoplasm on this screen, and then once you've got your reading with this 1980s calculator, you do the calculations. It's a shame that doesn't work anymore, but there you go. The top of this area here is a vintage lamp. You'd have two bulbs coming out of there. As you turn it over, I've just wedged something in there to make it not look so much like a light bulb would go in there. I forget where they're from, these little spacers. I think, once again, it was probably... Oh, they were feet. There we go. They were feet off of something. And, of course, we have a ribbon cable there. Now, the ribbon cable was the original ribbon cable that was on here. And, obviously, when we got a more accurate ribbon cable, I still kept this one and thought I could use it for something else. And there we go. Bit of ribbon cable on the ecto detector. Right, so, there we go. That is it. That is my Proton Pack and some of the extra props. One day I will show you the uniforms that I put together. Anyway, as I always say, look after yourselves, take care, and I shall see you soon.